Gather round, my dear friends, and enjoy the warmth of our company. As your lore master, well versed in the secrets of the lands of Azeroth, I welcome you to the wonders of the Azuremyst Isles, home to the Draenei, who cherish and protect their newfound sanctuary. Just imagine the stories these islands could tell. Now, onward, my fellow travelers, to the realm where the stars once fell from the skies. Grab your walking sticks and tighten your bootlaces. We're in for quite the adventure. Long ago, the Azuremyst Isles were but a part of ancient Kalimdor's western edge. Imagine, if you will, a lush, mountainous forest, largely untamed and untouched. The night elves, ever so graceful and mysterious, seem to have had a presence here, evidenced by age-old ruins, remnants of a city that stood long ago. One can only wonder at the beauty that once was, I dare say. Thousands of years later, when the Great Sundering tore the world apart with a cataclysmic force unlike anything ever seen before, the Isles were cast adrift, isolating its inhabitants. Over the ages, the flora and fauna adapted to a new, harsher environment, sealed off from the rest of the world. But lo and behold, the arrival of the Draenei brought a new chapter to these shores. Fleeing their homeland of Argus from the dreaded Burning Legion, their interdimensional vessel, the Exiled, crash-landed here in a spectacular fashion, setting a new course for the future of these enchanted isles. Nevertheless, the collision of the Exiled was not without its share of consequences. The once pristine islands were tainted by radiation from the ship's remnants, causing plants to mutate and animals to turn rather hostile. Despite their best efforts, the Draenei couldn't clear away the toxic blight entirely. A proper tangle, if I may say so. Today, the Isles bear the marks of the Draenei's arrival, and our path will soon lead us through terrains forever changed by the crash of their grand ship. The new inhabitants, now proud members of the Alliance, work tirelessly to restore balance to their newfound home, where they hope to reclaim the natural beauty of their former splendor. So come, wander these timeless lands alongside me, where many young Draenei take their first steps toward greatness, all to counter the Burning Legion's horrific crusade they have fled in the first place. With history as our guide, we now turn our attention to the Amon Vale, where we discover the first chapter in the Draenei's journey on Azeroth. This lightly forested valley, dotted with gleaming crystals and fragments of their crashed planar ship, creates a tumultuous and peculiar landscape. The first site you'll encounter is the crash site, where a significant chunk of the Exiled lies in disarray. Here, you'll find many injured Draenei, all trying to mend the aftermath of the wreckage. No doubt the brave among you will assist in tending to these wounded souls, a noble task indeed. A little further from the crash site lie the Amon Fields, now teeming with mutated root lashes. Adventurers here are tasked with gathering corrupted flowers for botanist Teryx to better understand the source of the corruption and to help restore the natural beauty of the fields. So watch your step, lest you get tangled in their roots. Hidden away in the northwest lies the Sacred Grove, a troubled glade inhabited by elementals in conflict, guarded by the spirit of the Vale, the Earth Elemental. This testing ground for aspiring Draenei shamans who wish to learn their totems is a place of great power and challenge. So tread carefully, my friends. To the southeast, one finds Silverline Lake, which for centuries provided pure, life-giving water to the local wildlife. Alas, here too, the crashing Exiled tainted this pristine lake, warping the creatures that drink from its waters. Not far from here, Nestlewood Thicket comes into view, home to the magnificent Owlkin. These typically peaceful creatures have begun collecting spare parts from the Exiled. but the corrupting force of the crystals has caused many to become wicked and twisted, turning them hostile. Efforts of the Draenei to inoculate and protect the unaffected Owlkin are ongoing, and your help in this delicate task will be greatly appreciated. Lastly, we have Shadow Ridge, a series of high, craggy hills in the southwest, shrouded in mystery. Rumor has it that the Blood Elves here tampered with the Exiled, causing its crash. Quite the troublesome lot, if I may add. They are believed to have followed the Draenei from Outland, and adventurers must deal with these intruders, uncover their plans, and put a stop to their meddling once and for all. In Amon Vale, the Draenei's journey begins amidst chaos and hope. Take up your quests with determination, for it's up to you to assist in healing your wounded brethren, restoring the land, and facing off against those who seek to disrupt their newfound sanctuary. Behold, over yonder, Azure Watch, my dear companions. This lively outpost lies snugly between Amon Vale and the Grand Exiled. As a forward base for the Hand of Argus, it plays a vital role in the lives of our Draenei allies. Here, you'll find trainers, merchants, and peacekeepers, all working tirelessly to support those who have newly arrived on Azuremyst Isle. There's even a furbolg of the Stillpine tribe among the settlement, conversing with cryptographer Oren in a language I have yet to decipher. Quite the talkative fellow, truly. Of particular note, my friends, is an injured night elf under the care of anchorite Fatima, the Watch's first aid trainer. She awakens in terror, convinced she's surrounded by Eridar, only to faint once more. Now what could this all be about? Who or what are these Eridar she speaks of? The bewildered first aid trainer is at a loss, for the Draenei are certainly not the beings she describes. As you'll discover, in Azure Watch, every corner tells a story of perseverance and camaraderie. The Draenei's efforts to integrate with their new allies while mending the wounds of their past are truly inspiring. It's a place brimming with life and purpose, a perfect stop for any budding adventurer. All right, my brave explorers, let us bid farewell to Azure Watch and journey southward with me through the forest towards the shoreline. Now this is a rare sight indeed. If I'm not mistaken, this area is known as the Pod Clusters, where many of the escape pods from the Exiled crash-landed. The Draenei's fear during the ship's descent must have been unimaginable. As we trudge onward, we come upon Gisel's camp, a venture company settlement near the southeastern shore. Named after the elusive goblin Gisel, these opportunists are a bothersome lot they are, and their presence is a thorn in the side of a nearby Alliance outpost. What mischief their leader is up to, only time will tell, but we shan't dawdle here as more intriguing sights await. Now, let us continue our journey to Odysseus's Landing, dear friends. This small encampment, founded by an Alliance fleet under the stalwart Admiral Odysseus, is quite the sight. And cast your gaze towards the waters of the Veiled Sea, and you'll spot two ships moored near the outpost, and for good reason, believe you me. After the venture company down the shore made off with their nautical compass and map, the Admiral's fleet was forced to make port here. Stranded without their navigational tools, the crew now has to make do with the culinary skills of Cookie McWeaksauce, whose menu rarely extends beyond chicken, much to the Admiral's frustration. Feel free to explore the outpost and the beach at your leisure, dear companions. In the meantime, I will lend my aid to this rudderless bunch and look for something other than chicken for dinner. Gather your belongings, my friends, for it is time to leave this port of sorts. Before we set out, take a moment to breathe in the salty air and say your farewells to the Admiral and his crew. This haven has served us well, but our journey now takes us further west along the rugged coast. As we walk, let your minds wander to the tales Priestess Kylene Ildinar shared with us. Priestess Kylene, a guardian of law and wisdom, speaks of a place ominously known as Wrathscale Point. These ruins were once a serene settlement, a place of harmony and grace. But as of late, it is overrun by the Wrathscale Naga, whose dark ambitions taint the very air around us. As we approach, the air grows heavier, a sign of the corruption that has taken hold. And do be cautious, dear companions, and avoid venturing too close to the nearby caves without proper gear or good company. These caves are known as Tide's Hollow and are entirely overrun by the Naga, who use it as their stronghold. Speak up, what did you just say? For my hearing isn't what it used to be. You've discovered many ancient relics of a bygone era. Let me take a look. These markings are unmistakably Night Elvish, remnants of a time long past. This settlement must have been theirs. Why the Night Elves left, I cannot say, for that knowledge has been lost to history. But you must understand, dear friends, the Night Elves are beings quite unlike us mere mortals, and their lives unfold on a scale that we can scarcely comprehend. Initially immortal, they lived for thousands of years, their longevity tied to their world tree, Nordrassil. For them, the passing of decades is but a fleeting moment, and centuries can seem as mere chapters in their long, storied lives. Thus, what might seem like a swift decision or a sudden change to us may, in fact, be the culmination of millennia of contemplation and slow transformation for these perennial beings. But I digress. There is still much to see and do. Come along, we mustn't tarry, for the mysteries of this land will not uncover themselves, and the Wrathscale Naga's schemes will not be thwarted by idle musings. Collect your courage and your wits, and let us continue our quest with hearts full of resolve and eyes wide with wonder. Brace yourselves, dear adventurers, as we now make our way to Bristlelim Village, a small furbolg settlement on the western side of Azuremyst Isle. Here, we find a rather unsettling scene. Furbolgs imprisoning their own kin. It's quite the puzzling and unfortunate situation, and these poor souls seem to need a helping hand. But how do we assist them without angering the other tribe that appears to be responsible? Let us explore further, for these isles may yet disclose the answers we need. By the by, did you know these isles are known to the Darnassian elves as Nar'valas, or View of Unending Stars? It's no wonder, as the sky here is indeed filled with the light of countless stars. It makes one muse from which distant corner of the cosmos did our Draenei friends descend on their journey through the twisting nether. While pondering is indeed a favorite pastime of your trusty lawmaster, there's nothing quite like exploring. Next, we set our sights on Silvermist Isle, a small island off the southwest coast. Once home to a quaint night elf fishing village, it now faces the wrath of both Murlocs and Moonkin, driven mad by crystalline shards from the crashed Exodar. It's no walk in the park, so do watch your step and keep your wits about you. As we approach Moonwing Den, exercise caution. The radiation from the crystals that has turned the native wildlife aggressive could also affect you, brave lot. Not to mention, there's a rather odd sight, a wicker effigy dedicated to the fire elemental Auteur. Poor fellow has gone quite mad, commanding worship from the local owl beasts and demanding they burn effigies in his honor. Now, let's make our way to Traitor's Cove, a desolate beach on the eastern shore of Silvermist Isle. This sandy stretch is in fact the secret meeting spot for some rather unsavory characters. Engineer Spark Overgrind and the Goblin Giesel, the masterminds behind the plot to strip mine the Exodar from its crystals and resources, have chosen this secluded spot for their clandestine rendezvous. According to Captain Odysseus, someone cleverly disguised as a tree, indeed, you heard that right, will soon eavesdrop on their meeting. Imagine the sight, a tree just standing there, leaves and all, listening in. Just the other day, the Admiral discovered that Spark, a gnome he had known for years, was a traitor among his crew. This cunning fellow had been secretly working with the venture company at the behest of Kael'thas Sunstrider, feeding them vital information. It seems we've stumbled upon quite the conspiracy. Hush now. Quickly, everyone hide. Let's observe their scheming and see how deep their treachery goes. We might learn something invaluable. And now, dear travelers, we come to one of the most significant locations on Azuremyst Isle, the Exodar itself. This magnificent structure, a fragment of the larger interdimensional fortress known as Tempest Keep, serves as both the Draenei's home and a symbol of their perseverance. Before we can explore the Exodar's current state, a bit of history is in order to better understand the weight of the Draenei's journey through the cosmos. After some enlightening discussions with the capital's scholars and reviewing their historical records, I discovered that these beings were originally part of the Eridar, a highly advanced and peaceful race known for their exceptional magical abilities and vast knowledge. Why yes, the very same Eridar that frightened our night elf friend in Azure Watch. But worry not, the Draenei have a tale of defiance and survival that sets them apart. For you see, their homeworld of Argus faced a great test when the Dark Titan Sargeras offered the three leaders immense power, causing a division among the Eridar. Kil'jaeden and Archimonde succumbed to the lust for power, accepting Sargeras' offer and becoming demons of the Burning Legion. Prophet Velen, however, foreseeing this dark fate, led his followers to escape, and they became known as the Draenei, or the Exiled Ones. The refugees of Argus fled across space and time, always pursued by the Burning Legion. After a devastating encounter on Draenor, they ultimately crash-landed on Azeroth with the Exodar. The crash on Azuremyst Isle brought both hope and devastation. The impact scattered debris and radiated harmful energies, altering the local ecosystem and endangering both Draenei and native creatures. That said, the Draenei's arrival also brought new knowledge and magic to the region, fostering cultural exchanges with the other races of Azeroth. Their unique perspective and advanced technologies have had a profound impact on the Alliance and its members. Just outside the capital lies Valar's Birth, a dock of Night Elven architecture. Here, the elvish ship Ilune's Blessing provides transport between Valar's Birth and Ruthven village on Teldrassil, connecting the Azuremyst Isles to the mainland of Kalimdor, and thus the wider world of Azeroth. Today, the Exodar represents the heart of Draenei culture and resilience. Inside its glowing, crystalline structure, the Exiled Ones work tirelessly to repair their home and heal the land. So, dear friends, as you explore the Exodar and its surroundings, remember that this ship is more than just a vessel. It is a symbol of these spacefarers' hope for a peaceful future. Let's leave the Exodar to its diligent caretakers. Blimey, look at the size of that natural wall of stone. I couldn't for the life of me remember. Of course, Wildwind Peak. Yes, that's the name of the massive mountain the spaceship crashed into. This imposing and very tall ridge dominates Azuremyst Isle. The air around these lofty heights is the domain of the air elementals, swirling and whistling like a grand symphony of the winds. At its peak, there's a quaint little cave occupied by Velada, a wise Draenei shaman. If you ever find yourself with a bit of spare time, do take a stroll up there. It's quite the sight, I assure you. Our next stop is the silting shore, located on the northwestern coast of the island. The beach here is dotted with the huts of the siltfin murlocs, those frenzied fishfolk always up to some mischief. Their leader, Murgurgula, sports a peculiar trophy, a piece of fur he stole from what seems to be furbolg hair. What a cheeky little thief. But given that murlocs aren't exactly known for their polite conversation skills and tend to react with aggression and rather poor manners, it might remain a mystery what the significance is of this curious keepsake. Moving along, we reach Emberglade in the northeast part of these Draenei lands. This area is home to friendly fire elementals and is ironically encircled by a ring of burnt trees. How fitting. Here we meet Temper, another shaman teacher of the elements. Rather the fiery chap, but a helpful one all the same. But the highlight of our exploration is Stillpine Hold, located on the northern side of Azuremyst Isle. This small settlement is the home of the Stillpine tribe of furbolgs. Once a peaceful lot, they now face numerous challenges. The hold itself is occupied by corrupted moonkin, led by the fearsome chieftain Umuru. The furbolgs seem desperate to rid their home of these hostile invaders, and the tribe has since allied with the Draenei since their arrival, seeking aid from the Alliance. What's more, they find themselves at war with the corrupted bristle-limb furbolgs, who have even taken some of their members captive. If you recall, we saw some of these poor souls earlier, held against their will in Bristle-limb village. Rather a grim situation, truth be told. And to top it off, there are reports of even more Stillpine furbolgs being held captive in the sinisterly red lands of Bloodmist Isle, to our north. It's all connected, you see. The struggles of the Stillpines and the mysterious happenings across these islands. Amidst all this chaos, a prophecy foretells that a hero, not of furbolg blood, will rise to save the Stillpine tribe. And that hero, my dear adventurers, could very well be you. But first, you must learn their language, a task that begins in Azure Watch. The knowledge you gain there will be key to communicating with the Stillpine and understanding their plight. So, what are you waiting for? Step forward and let the legend of your heroism be written in the stars. Well, my fellow companions, this is it. To the north lies Bloodmist Isle, a land drenched in a ghastly red mist, giving everything a rather ominous crimson tint. The vegetation, the air, all of it radiates the fallout from the Exodar's disaster landing. Here, the Draenei face even greater challenges as they work to cleanse the corruption and reclaim the beauty of their new home. As we stand at the edge of the world, feel the weight of the task ahead. Will you heed the call? Let us embrace the storm with courage as our guide.